Hey everybody, this is Rudy from the Las Vegas Drum Room. Just wanted to do an extended video here on YouTube of what's inside the little drum cove of the Las Vegas Drum Room. So let's get started. On this shelf over here, at the very top, we have a Zildjian 400th anniversary bell bronze snare, followed by the DW TrueCast 6.5 by 14. Then we have two 50th anniversary DW snares, both 6.5 by 14, one being the edge snare, top and bottom edge, and then the other one is the non-edge model. And over there on the corner, we have a Steve Gadd snare complete with book certificate. Moving on down to the second row, we have a WFL3 in Black Galaxy aluminum snare that was gifted to me by Bill Ludwig himself after one of the Las Vegas drum shows. So thank you again, Bill. And then over here we have a 30s, 40s Leedy Black Elite business cards. And then we have a Tama bell bronze snare, the Scorched Earth, Lars Ulrich model. Very nice snare, that is dead mint. Then we have a 40th anniversary Yamaha snare, 7 by 13, only made in this size, hand engraved, beautiful. 40th anniversary model. It's pretty cool here. Here on the side here, you can see the phoenix bird holding a tuning fork in its mouth. All right, and we have some miscellaneous vintage cowbells here. We have the triangle, a vintage Ludwig practice pad. And moving down to row number 3, we have basically, this is an entire row here of the late 80s Noble and Cooley Zildjian collaboration snares. We have the 6 by 14 over there, which is the original one in the smooth finish. Then we have a couple of later model with the ribbed pattern in the 5 by 14. And then we have another smooth finish over there and another one over here, but we'll get back to that. And then down here at the very bottom, we have two mid-2000s Canopus, tomato, 5mm bronze snares, the Piccolo and the 6.5 by 14. Over here, we have a 5.5 by 13 Paiste Spirit of 2002 snare. We'll get a little more into that here in a couple minutes. Then on the end, we have the Tama Star Classic copper snare. So that basically takes care of this section. And then if we move on to this section up here, we have the 2009 Ludwig Triumphal snare. Beautiful snare, 24 karat gold plated. Hand engraved, hand etched by Adrian Kirchler over in Italy. Did a beautiful job. This particular model number is 1938. Then we have a late, I think 90s, 1999, 2000 DW Pre-Collector's black badge, hand engraved by John Aldridge. And then another cast DW snare here, really nice little firecracker of a snare. An early 80s hammered 6.5 by 14 bronze superphonic with a super sensitive strainer. Again, we have another Zildjian Noble and Cooley snare because it didn't fit on the other row. And then this is also the 2009 Ludwig Black Beauty reissue. This one is especially interesting because they made two versions of this snare. One with these little birds right here that have the names of all three Ludwigs, Bill 1, 2, and 3. And then they made an exact same snare without the birds and without the names. So this is the one with. Now down here we have the beginning of the Paiste 2002 snares. So we have this one right here, 5 by 14. And these down here are Jeff Ochiltree's later variations of what he was building. This is his own brand, the Jeff Ogletree, where am I at? Jeff Ogletree Tree Bronze snare there. That's probably the heaviest drum in my entire drum room, 8x14. We got the 6.5x14 version and the 7x13. All right, there we go, Las Vegas drum room. And up here, we have a chrome over brass Superphonic. That's why it's in this room versus the regular non-brass versions, which are in the other side of the room. Then we have, this is one of the bronze Superphonic here, late 70s, by far one of the best sounding snares I have, excellent. And right here we have two 1926, what people call Black Beauties. They were not called Black Beauties back then. In the catalogs, they were called ornamental models, all hand engraved. These snares here are the same except for the strainer mechanism. This has your typical kind of modern system here. And then this one right here has a super sensitive version where both sides are connected by a connecting rod inside the middle of the snare. But other than that, they are the same, both 1926 models. Right here we have two Tama bell brass, actually bell bronze, correct term. Snare drums here, both are the same. We have both are 6.5x14. These are 3mm shells, and these are both the originals. Down here on the ground, we have a reissue, which is a phenomenal snare drum. Honestly, I recommend if anyone's trying to capture one of these one day, they're just too expensive. I wouldn't even do it today. The prices are just astronomical. You are much, much better trying to find this one here for a fraction of the price. Again, just my 2 cents. All right, down here we have some more Paiste Spirit of 2002 snares, collaboration with Paiste, using recycled cymbals in the early 2000s to make the snare drum shell. And then Jeff Ogletree took it from there and put his own lugs, hoops, gold-plated hoops on here and finished off the drum that way. And then over here, whoops, almost tripped, too much stuff in the Las Vegas drum room. All right, we have another snare rack with a couple of early 2000s Gretsch snares here. We have the, I believe the Harvey Mason on the left there with the blue crinkled finish, and then the Vinnie Colaiuta, the God Bless America snare there. And then we have a Rogers 6.5x14 tri-band, red, white, and blue. Then we have a Rogers Wildwood snare here, reissue, very nice snare. And then finishing off down here, we have another 6.5x14 tree bronze snare. Then we have another 5.5x13 Spirit of 2002 snares. And these two on the end here are very, very interesting. These are actually the Paiste timbales. There are very, very few made. I heard a story about this. I'm not going to repeat the story because I don't really know 100%. It came from a very, very good source, but these were never, they were put into production. Several were made, but they were not sold. At least that's what I'm told, because they were so heavy that there was no way to mount these or to support these on any type of stand. So I have two of them right here. There's another famous female drummer that has one of them, and the rest are hiding somewhere else as far as I know. But anyway, I'll go ahead and leave it at that. So that's pretty much it for right here. I just wanted to point out a couple of other things non-drum related. We got a couple of signs up there. One, the fluorescent, or excuse me, the neon on the left that I acquired at the 2019 Hollywood Drum Show. And this Paiste one, this came from a drum shop that was in Honolulu. It was owned by a Delta Airlines pilot. I spoke to him one day when I was there on vacation, and he had the sign in there. He had the shop there for 25 years, and then basically Guitar Center moved into the island, and he closed down his shop after 25 years. I happened to walk into his shop one day 6 months before close, and he said everything was for sale, including the counters. So the only thing I could realistically take back on the plane with me was this lighted sign up there. Let's see, what else? What else can I tell you? Oh, look at this 1953 Gretsch cocktail kit. Beautiful kit. I got that from Nelson's Drum Shop. Very, very cool people over there. And then right here, I'll probably do another video later on this one, but this is a 1960 to 1962 Rogers Mardi Gras kit, also called confetti finish. This was actually found here in Las Vegas by a friend of mine, drummer Brian Zach, Nashville drummer now. Excellent drummer, by the way. Check him out, Brian Zach. That's spelled C-Z-A-C-H. And he was in town playing a gig, and he was at Guitar Center, and he found this kit. And he alerted me to it, and I went over there and picked it up. The story is much longer than this, but beautiful kit. The snare drum here, as you can see, has one of the Rogers collet mounts right there, and that is designed to be suspended off of this mount right here. So, but to find that arm is, I mean, you got a better chance at winning the lottery than to find this arm, but I eventually did through another kit. But this is a 2012 16 kit, matching snare. Outstanding, outstanding, outstanding condition. All the colors, right? You got the greens, the reds, the silvers, everything in there. It's all very, very present and vibrant. So that's pretty cool. I'll do a little more in-depth review on this kit a little bit later, so the sake of not making this video too long. And on here I have a pair of 15-inch Zildjian 1940s, or hi-hats from the 1940s. In my opinion, the best sounding hats in my room. And then I have a late 90s, one of the early Zildjian K Constantinople medium thin low rides in a 22-inch. And let's see, what else can I add to this video? Oh yes, the late 70s, early 80s, interesting 26-inch Zildjian ride. On top we have the filled in solid dark stamp. Underneath you have the hollow logo. So yes, this is a question for probably others that are more versed than I in these Zildjian cymbals, but it's either a transition period or probably a vault cymbal from the factory. Lots of questions there. Anyway, so this is basically a quick review of the cove, what I call the cove here at the Las Vegas Drum Room, all the different snares. If anyone is in town, reach out to me at Rudy at LasVegasDrumRoom.com, and you can come over for a tour. Anyone that wants to come over, I make time and meet with people, explain to them, do a little history lesson, etc. Ask whatever questions, I'll answer your questions. Oh, and don't forget, if you guys are into drum shows, we have the 2027 Las Vegas Drum Show happening here in Vegas on Sunday, March 14th, 2027, 6th annual show. Any information you need to know or would like, you can find it at LasVegasDrumShow.com. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.